Okay, this is the meeting of the Gardner Board of Health. It's Monday, April 22nd. We're in the Mayor's Conference Room at City Hall. It is 4:31 p.m. Meeting is called to order. First item on the agenda is approve the minutes from February 26, 2024 and March 25th, 2024. So, first ones are February 26th, 2024. And I believe Dr. Parker, you were absent, not attended, so
make a motion to accept them.
I second it. Any discussion? Changes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. These minutes will be signed. The next 7 minutes are from March 25th, 2024, and we're all present on that one, yes.
I'll make a motion to pass those minutes as written.
And I'll second them. Any discussion? They looked good to me.
Yep.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. These minutes are passed, and we can sign them. Okay, next item on the agenda is old business. Micah?
I'm actually gonna reword the agenda for next time.
Okay.
And I'll just go down my kind of list of items, and then the only new business would be
The resolutions.
resolutions.
So,
Starting with outreach, Veronica, the wellness fair was last week. It went very well.
It was.
It was very well attended.
it was very well attended. I was there, and I had a table for liver disease, and it was very well attended. So it was nice. Everyone had a raffle. There were over 50 vendors.
Wow.
And each vendor was asked to bring a raffle item, and so there were a lot of raffles that were given out.
Close to 70 vendors, so we might
Yeah.
need a bigger indoor space if that's what we're gonna do. So.
Yeah, they were good.
People attended, not just the vendors, but the.
I don't know if we have numbers,
I think
if
so.
there's a way to.
In the hundreds.
Okay.
So.
There were definitely hundreds and hundreds.
Good.
I would say a couple hundred.
Yeah,
Yeah.
300-ish, maybe
Yeah.
somewhere in there. So.
So, and a lot of families, there were a lot of family-oriented things like with nutrition for children and stuff. So it was nice. There was, all different things. So.
So up next, they have the high school / alternative school. They're going to be having a health fair on the 24th. There's going to be a paw walk fundraiser with GDTV on this Saturday, April 27th.
And that benefits the domestic violence
Yes.
task force and Voices of Truth.
Yes,
Yeah.
GDTV. Is
Okay. And is that where they vote the dog mayor? Is that?
I don't
I
actually.
can't remember if that's. Don't they have a contest for voting a dog for mayor or something of the dog park? I don't know. Anyway.
Good idea.
Yeah.
And then just in the stages of planning for National Night Out, August 6th. Next up is the landfill / transfer station. I met with our environmental consulting firm to take a look at the exact areas that are going to be needing to be repaired. And it looks like it's going to be a lot, probably more than even what I requested in the budget. And there's actually one area of erosion that wasn't included in the report to repair, but it is going to be a problem down the line.
Is that erosion on the actual, not the parking lot or the transfer station area, but the
They're called
mound?
yeah,
What-
it's the letdown channels. So
Yeah.
you'll see on the hill, there's
Okay.
a big rock and a channel's going down that's supposed to guide everything down.
Is there any kind of funding or state environmental funding or anything that?
Not that I've come
Yeah,
across.
yeah.
So the one channel that actually wasn't listed on the report, but I want to get repaired, is the one that's, looks like it's what's causing the water to be flowing through the transfer station lot. So I want to get that looked at and then redig the whole, it's like the drainage channel along the boundary there to make the water go downstream instead of across the parking lot. We did make an attempt to fix one of the items, which was a water sampling well that had some kind of rodent nesting material in there. So when they backed that out, we found out that the PVC pipe inside the well was actually snapped, and we're gonna have to either dig down and figure out a way to fix it or redig the entire well. It's kind of going to see what DEP wants us to do. We're going to be helping host the Keep Gardner Beautiful Nip Hunt / trash cleanup on May 4th. So they have a little area up there now with a container of their supplies, and we're going to have an extra container delivered for any trash items that they find. So they have a way to take care of that without causing any hazards with the normal transfer station operation. I will be applying for some small grants to add some structures to the transfer station. They're mainly for increasing recycling capacity, so something to store household hazardous waste or something to facilitate some kind of a swap shop where if an item's still usable, but there,
Oh, that'd be
maybe
good.
somebody else will take it.
And what about the stairs you were looking at to climb up?
Yeah, I'm still working on getting quotes for that. That wouldn't be covered under any grant money,
Yeah.
but it's definitely, still needs to be done, is get the stairs fixed and then rearrange all the big concrete blocks just so that they're nice and even and safer.
And what about for the actual, the hut there, anything more on what we can do to make those facilities a little bit more comfortable and safer?
I have been researching as far as costs for like a mobile office trailer type situation. It would just be a matter of getting money for that. So,
Right.
it might have to be like a free cash request or
Yeah.
something along those
That's
lines.
the E grant with Region 2, that's all for emergency preparedness, that wouldn't help. Trying to think if
So the only grants I've come across are mainly towards waste reduction or nothing
and
that-
nothing that can stretch out to house the actual place for recycling.
Nothing yet, so I'm working on it. For housing and nuisance complaints, it's been coming in at a pretty increasing rate. We had 20 of those complaints since the last Board of Health meeting. So it kind of varies between a nuisance and housing combination of both.
Are there any repeat offenders?
I didn't include repeat offenders in that number, so it's probably even higher. But we do have some cases that are pretty difficult to resolve and aren't really going away.
Are any of them similar, the same landlord, or
so it's nobody specific to focus on for any particular repeat problems, but we are working on that along with any kind of properties that have a lot of junk, trash, and buildup. We're gonna start hitting those harder, trying to get more traction on those. And part of that, Angela has built some new forms in OpenGov for housing complaints, nuisance complaints. So that's gonna help us better track what we get, where it's at, and its status, and when it's closed, things like that.
So that'll be good
that's
to
helpful.
go back and do reports on, collect whatever data you have on how many.
Yeah, she's doing a lot in OpenGov with reports, like generating a report once you enter in all the inspection stuff,
Oh,
and
good.
scheduling, like syncing to your calendar, all kinds of good stuff that we can take advantage of.
Data is always helpful when you go to
Yeah.
file for, funding and grants and stuff, and,
Absolutely.
whatever it is, even with the council and stuff, if you have the data.
Yeah, just having better info to provide all of you as far as how many inspections we do, what they cover, things along those lines. So that is up and running, and then she also added new online applications for septic plans and
Oh, great.
tests. So
Well, thank Angela for us.
yes, definitely. We've had a few, I think about 3 applications come in for new septic systems or replacements so far this year. I'm expecting that's gonna pick up pretty soon.
And we have a new employee that's working out well in Meadow.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's actually my next update.
Oh.
That's okay. Eddie is our new, he's gonna be our new food inspector. He's still in the training process, but we've gone out and just taken him on several food inspections. He's been doing a lot of online training. Pretty soon we're gonna transition to him to where he takes the lead on an inspection and we observe. And if that goes well, we'll cut him loose and put him on his own routine. So we are actually currently inspecting food establishments on the minimum scale, which is twice a year. And we're going to be moving towards more of a risk-based calendar. So every place will be inspected 2, 3, or 4 times a year, depending on past performance, population served, complexity of the menu, all that kind of stuff. So there will be some places that will be getting 4 or more inspections a year, depending on how they do, and we'll adjust that list as we get moving along. So I think that'll be good with how often there's turnover within the restaurants, and how often things change. Just get in there more
It's
often.
new facility.
Yeah. Since the last meeting, we had one more foodborne illness complaint came in. A few people that ate together and got sick about 2 days later.
Was it related to the other one?
No, it was not. So, we did do an inspection and follow-up with the establishment that they ate. Didn't find anything of concern at that time. They both have recovered and didn't need any medical treatment or anything like that.
Good.
These were people in the same group, they were eating together.
Yes, they both ate the same thing, same restaurant, on the same day, and then both had an onset about at the same time, similar symptoms. So we looked into it as best we could. All the product that they ate was already gone that same day that they ate there, so we couldn't really inspect that, but
And last month was 2 separate
That's
complaints.
yeah, they were
Same
separate.
establishment.
No,
was it? I think it may have been the same establishment, but it was separate events.
Right.
So,
And we don't have any idea, there's no correlation about what's going on here.
nothing we could find. Last month's complaints were a little odd just because they were over a month old before they even got diagnosed or we were even notified about it. So was shellfish, it wasn't oysters, so there is a concern there with
Mm.
Vibrio.
Yeah.
Did they do stool studies to know what was in it, or they're just going by history of
And
exposure?
symptoms.
Yeah, there was no test or anything like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing got reported to the state,
Right.
that came back, it was them calling you.
Yes,
For help.
yeah, and we do always recommend
Mhm.
they go talk to their healthcare provider, and neither one decided to do that, so we don't really know what exactly was happening with that, but.
It's hard because there's a lot around in the community right now, like a lot of gastroenteritis,
A lot of
all kinds
kinds
of
of
coincidences. Is it really a concern, you know?
Yeah, so.
You don't have anything to test at the establishment, so.
Right.
All we could do is really go look at how they receive and store the product again, make sure they have their shellfish tags in order,
Mhm.
which they did. So that in case there was more, we were able to trace it back.
Right.
Hopefully, that's the last we hear of that.
Yeah.
And, let's see, still making preparations for the food truck festival. That's kind of all being run through Wood Trucks.
Yeah, I saw that, and so they end up, so they're promoting all, if you want a food truck festival or something like that, or wherever the establishment, and then they take care of doing all the credential checking and safe food serve
Yep.
certifications and all that.
Yeah, so they run, it's like a commissary specifically designed for food trucks,
Oh,
and has kind of a big number of trucks that
yeah,
are all licensed and inspected, and will
So
hopefully
then-
make things a little easier.
you don't, the local Board of Health doesn't have to go and inspect each particular truck then, or?
We still will.
You would, yeah,
We
okay.
will, the day of, we'll be
Right.
out there making sure everybody has their
Temperatures and
energy,
stuff like that, yeah.
sinks working,
Yeah.
chemicals, all that good stuff, so. I think that's actually all I have.
I have a question for
Sure.
old business then before we proceed, and I know we were talking a little bit about it, but about the PFAS in the water. I thought I saw something, and I don't know if either of you did, thought I saw something in the news about them making, or looking at making minimum standards for PFAS in water and making it mandatory to be checking the drinking water for PFAS. I'm not sure where I saw that, or,
But I mean, when it came up in front of this board, it didn't have anything to do with drinking water, did it?
no, but I thought, well, they did want the results, testing of drinking water, and because it was something we were talking about, I would just wondered if we have anything, information or anything notified about that, because it sounds like the government, I don't know if it was federal or I think it was federal, that was looking at making minimum standards, which means Massachusetts would have to have minimum standards, and I didn't know what we have for information on that. But you haven't received anything.
Nothing yet, only water we're testing, or we have test results we're responsible for right now, is the landfill.
Right, so the water company would have to be the ones to be doing that.
And if we do hear anything, it would come from DEP.
From them to us.
So the concern was it leaching from the landfill area and then contaminating
Right.
groundwater, is that?
Right.
I mean, it wasn't like a water supply issue, but possibly private water supplies.
I believe the request for the information was also for our drinking water results, and if PFAS was tested at the time. It is something that is coming more and more, attention is being brought to as it's being, research is coming out, and it's being more, agencies are being more attentive to the fact that the PFAS can cause cancers.
I mean, that would be a concern, I would think, if it was present at all, right?
Right. Well, I think I don't want to they were talking about what the minimum standards are. Right now, Massachusetts does have minimum standards. I believe it's 6 parts per million. I'm not gonna quote that, but I believe there is some minimum standards already. But I believe what I saw was being proposed was higher minimum standards. So I just didn't know if we've gotten any information at all.
You mean like a more stringent standard,
Yeah.
lower
Yeah.
readings,
Yeah,
lower threshold.
right. So,
October of 2020, Mass DEP published PFAS public drinking water standard or maximum contaminant level, MMCL, of 20 nanograms per liter or parts per trillion. I don't know how that compares to the new whatever the
I don't
standard is.
either, and I don't know. We'll have to do some research on it.
Yeah.
For next
definitely
meeting,
will.
yeah. I'll see what I
And
can find.
that's the sum of all, there's 6 different chemicals that make up the PFAS.
PFAS,
So the
right.
20 nanograms per liter is the sum concentration of all 6.
So it is something that,
Yeah, I mean, I think we should certainly
Yeah.
kind of get ahead of it and make sure that if it is part of what we can do, we should, you know,
Right.
we should be aware of what the level is,
Mhm.
certainly in the public water supply, and if people are doing private well testing, then I guess that, I don't know.
right, we can't,
When those are going to the labs, are
Yeah.
they testing for that? I've never,
I mean, if,
They would,
Private
they would
wells.
update that with the private well, like drinking water regulations, as far as what gets tested for your standard, well tests that we look at when we license them. So
Mhm.
we look at the list that they wanted to add PFAS,
Right.
definitely.
but I mean, it's not an EPA primary or secondary.
it hasn't been, I don't know, I thought I saw, I'll have to look, you know, we
Yeah,
can
there's
all.
a Mass DEP fact sheet that came out, and then maybe that's what you saw. I
Maybe.
don't know, because it says that
What day is
all
that?
public water suppliers are required to test for PFAS. The monitoring requirements will be included in future Mass DEP issued water quality sampling schedules, so they're not saying what the cutoff is going to be, but it's also required to test all new sources of drinking water, including replacement sources and satellite wells. And then it says there is money, UMass is setting up, I think they said 5 labs to do this, and so there is money, you can use the UMass labs. There are 3 US EPA testing methodologies, and why don't I send you guys this fact
Yes.
sheet? This is a fact sheet, but then it does say how to interpret the tests and what are the current recommendations.
I just want to make sure we're proactive with doing what
Absolutely.
we,
Yeah.
we're supposed to do it, where it was raised.
raised.
And I know there's a lot of attention being brought up to grade with it. Like I said, California has had regulations on it for a long time. In anything, like, you know, I remember buying some shower curtains and vinyl shower curtains, and it was like, did not meet the grades, standards for California, but we didn't have to worry about it. Yeah. So I just want to make sure, that'd be great if you can send
Yeah,
that
I'll
to
send
us,
you
and then if
guys
there's
this
a
thing.
link to,
There's a contact person for each region of the state, and for the central state, it's Robert Bostwick. Anybody know?
And he rings the bell.
yeah, so maybe we can.
And there's a
you
phone
can
number here.
Check. I mean, because it would be nice, especially where our water treatment plant, is that correct terminology, is subcontracted, right?
It all falls under the
The DPW, yeah.
So I don't really get.
I'm just concerned about the health, and, you know.
We
things.
Yeah, that and who knows how many others. I mean, is he specifically, this contact, he's dealing specifically with
North
PFAS?
Central Mass, yeah.
Or is he
Maybe we
kind
can
of
check
like-
with them and find out.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Email that to you guys right now.
Thank you. Okay, we have new business. The resolution in support of paint stewardship legislation. You're on.
So yeah, we were just approached by one of the representatives who's trying to basically bring more attention to these regulations or the proposed laws. So that the goal is that they can get more municipalities to support it. And we were hoping we would get more attention in the legislature, just because there's so many bills they're looking at. So they're just looking to get more support for, it's basically a program that would charge a fee when you buy paint. I think it's less than $1 a gallon. And then that money would be used to set up a system to recycle the paint, or at least collect the paint and recycle what can be recycled and dispose of the rest, kind of on a universal level, kind of like deposit for your paint allowance.
Right.
They were at the household hazardous waste day last fall, I think. They were trying to get.
Yes, they were. So, I know that there's some communication here from about recycling the paint right now with what it's costing the municipalities. So my understanding from reading it is that passing this legislation, the municipalities will have to have different types of recycling processes for the paints, and that's going to be costly. And so by having that deposit or stewardship amount attached to it pre-sale, when at the sale, would it supplement some of those costs. Is that my understanding, your understanding?
I don't know. I didn't get that impression. And I guess the thing I don't understand is it's supposed to be proposed legislation, and then it says that the retailers and transfer stations participate on a voluntary basis. So I don't get what the legislation is, that it just enables you to participate, and then, so they're saying some retailers, like the larger ones, won't participate, whereas the smaller hardware stores generally do. So if you buy paint from Walmart and you're buying it without paying the surcharge, or is everybody paying it whether they participate or not? I'm not sure I get what the voluntary aspect of it is.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was a little bit confusing.
Because I would think if it's legislation, they would want it done universally, as opposed to.
I didn't actually look at the bill itself, I just
Well,
had this material, so.
And then the question is along that same line with the municipalities, like whatever funding this, surcharge is, or whatever it's called, is that distributed evenly to municipalities? Or, if it's voluntary, then if we participate, say Gardner participates, but the next town over doesn't, so how is it divided up? Those questions. Is there somebody that...
So, doesn't it mostly fund the whole paint care program? Isn't paint care the one that's going to handle most of the recycling of the paint and everything? Is that... so that would take it out of, for the most part, the municipalities, wouldn't it?
That's what
It's going to be returning it to the stores and not to the
Right.
town.
Oh,
So in other words, you bring it back, they collect bins of paint, and when their bins are full, they call paint care. Paint care comes and picks it up for recycling. And I would imagine the advantage would be there's less sporadic shipments of paints and everything. It's kind of,
right.
they're collecting all these paints. It's a centralized collection, and so you have a lot less trucking and everything, and you have a lot less, hopefully, disposal in landfills and places where it shouldn't be going. But
So
They're doing it in Maine, Vermont, New York, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, and it says saving taxpayers nearly $300 million to date. So it saves the town, the taxpayer, because they're paying it when they buy the paint, and not paying it for the disposal piece. I'm understanding that correctly.
okay. And then it does say here the collected money does not go to the state's general fund as a true tax would. The paint care operates as a nonprofit, making no profit, which the state confirms through an annual third-party audit of paint care. So this is really, it all would go into an account for paint care, like you said. And then the question you raised about if not everybody participates.
So, I mean, I think the idea of free and relatively easy paint disposal is a good thing, where you can just go down the street to your hardware store, hand your paint over to them, and it's done. I think that makes it a lot easier for people, and it would encourage people more to, you know, to do the recycling and everything. I mean, this is in front of us as what are we supposed to be making our recommendation to the city council? I mean, this would be an issue for the city council to address anyways, right?
Right.
Basically, it'd be whether you decide whether you want to have the city council look it over, or if you want to just kind of.
I think it's worth looking over. It's hard to make a formal recommendation based on the information we have, I think, but.
Right, especially with the idea of the fact that it's voluntary. And I mean, I can see some of the smaller stores participating, but then the big box stores not participating. So they have to return their cans of paint. So where are they going to go? Are they still going to go to the municipal transfer station for disposal?
Yeah,
And then
they can go to the smaller stores.
But then does that
It doesn't have to be
put a lot on the smaller stores?
You would think it might, but they say here, the smaller paint retailers in Connecticut, New York, and Vermont that I have spoken to, whoever wrote this opinion point, have found the program requires minimal effort and significantly increases their foot traffic, which they like. So to become a collection site, retailers or transfer stations must complete a simple two-page application form on the Paint Care website. So it sounds like a transfer station could complete an application form and become part of this program where they just take it and give it to the Paint Care people. But it sounds like the smaller stores, at least what they say in these other states, have appreciated they just collect the paint from wherever, but maybe while they're there, they buy something else. And I don't know why the big stores don't want to do it. They just have too much volume of paint going out, I guess, to worry about what's coming back. But it seems like they're just making it voluntary, so you wouldn't have to return it at the same place that you bought it, but you would have to find a place that collects it. So it could be a transfer station. It could be
But I'm assuming the surcharge would apply to everybody, right? In other words.
part of the paint sales, is how I understand it. It's
Yeah,
just
so
added to this.
like even if you don't
It's like
participate in the
sales.
program, you still have to collect the money for it if you're selling paint, right?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it-
like when you sell soda and it's in a can, you have to charge that extra 10 cents.
Right.
But it's not truly a tax either, because it's not going into the tax fund. It's going into the Paint Care company.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept, but it seems like it makes it easier for everybody, really.
But everybody does have to participate with the surcharge. Is that all?
Yeah, I think it's just the
Yeah.
inflation part of that was.
Okay.
Well, that was one question, obviously, because if Walmart and, you know, all the big paint retailers aren't participating in the surcharge, then how does that work? Then the hardware store
Right.
has to take
Right.
everybody's paint back.
Yeah. So it looks like they've prepared a resolution in support of paint stewardship legislation that they want us to
I thought that was for the city council, wasn't it?
put to the
That
city
was.
council. Do they want?
I think they want the city council to be on board with it and formally add the city of Gardner to the list of communities that are in favor of this. So as far as we're concerned, I mean, I think it's an interesting idea worth being taken up by the city council, if that's all that's being asked of us.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion of that?
Just support it, you know, and just say that we get for the public health and the say we support it.
Yeah,
Because it's gonna reduce waste and recycling costs and streamline this process to make responsible collection of this waste.
I mean, my personal feeling is I support the spirit of it, but I don't think I have enough information to say whether I'm in support of the actual legislation
Right.
because we haven't even seen it. So, I mean, my feeling would just be that I would be in favor of the city council looking at it, if that's what you're asking us to.
Right.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we,
We asked the city council to look at this
that we think it's
proposal
worth their
and,
review.
review.
Yeah, I second that.
And all in favor?
Uh,
Any discussion?
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's what we will do, but I agree, we don't really have enough.
yeah, I don't have a full legislation.
Yes.
There's questions.
Understandable.
Okay, anyone have anything else to discuss or bring up? The new business? Okay, let's set our meeting for next month.
So I'm away the week right before Memorial Day. Let's see, that's Monday, the 27th. I'm actually here on the 20th, but I'm not here on the 27th. But I don't think anybody else wants to be here the 27th.
Right, you know, we'll be on 27th.
Yeah,
So
I'm
you're-
here Monday, but Tuesday through Friday I'm not here, so.
Okay, so the 20th, how's that look for you, Jeff?
Oh, so Shelley, you are available on the 20th then?
I am.
The week before?
20th is
Okay,
the
yeah, that would be all right with me too.
I got,
Yeah.
okay, let's set it for the 20th at 4:30. Oops.